The WTA Tour is absolutely booming right now, and I cannot wait to get into this WTA Italian Open draw after Aryna Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek absolutely battled it out in the Madrid Open final in what can only be described as a modern day classic. Look, guys, this is absolutely stacked, and the WTA Tour is where it's at right now. I'm telling you, because on the men's side, it is pretty slim pickings when it comes to the Rome tournament. And I'll be doing a video for the draw preview and prediction video for that as well, going through the draw, going through each and every single match. But the women's draw is stacked. Everyone's fit. We've got Swiatek, we've got Sabalenka, we've got Rybakina, we've got Gauff, Jabeur, you name it. Everyone's fit. Everyone's ready to go. And there are a few omissions which we'll get to in a second. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this video down pretty similar to what we normally do. But I'm going to start off by talking about the projected quarterfinals, then also some notable omissions, mainly from the wildcard list, which is a bit strange. And I'll talk about that in a second. And then we'll go through, as you can see on screen, each and every single match. I will give you guys my predicted winner, and then, well, predicted winner in each every single match, get through every single round, and then ultimately give you my champions. So look, there's a lot to unpack here because Elena Rybakina is the defending champion. She lost in the semi-finals to Aryna Sabalenka in Madrid in a really close match. Excuse me. And then, of course, we had Iga Swiatek last year lose in the quarterfinal stage, or at least go out in the quarterfinal stage to Rybakina, and had to retire in a deciding set. So that was shaping up to be a really good match. Sabalenka lost in the first round of Rome last year. Well, in her opening match, anyway, second round, she got a bye in the first round. Lost in an opening match to Sofia Kenin, which can only be described as a massive upset. She'll be looking to go and do a lot better at Rome this year. She'll be wanting to, I imagine, the fact that she had championship points in the Madrid final, there will be a fire lit underneath her to really go on and go deep in Rome, and she'll be looking to capture the title. She's never won it, of course. Whereas Rybakina has won it once, Swiatek's won it twice. So Sabalenka, I'm sure, will want to join that group. And the rest of the pack of the WTA Tour will be looking to catch up to these guys who have been slated as a big three, which, yes, we're not saying that they're the same as Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic, because, that's a different thing altogether. But they're the big three in the sense that they seem to be the three most consistent players at the top of the women's game. They are the top three players in the world anyway in the rankings, but look, results don't lie, and they have been very consistent. So look, I think it's fair to say that they can be in that conversation. It's been talked about for a long time. Krejcikova was saying she should be in it, and then she didn't perform very well. Coco Gauff, of course, who's won a slam. She's looking really good the older she gets, but she hasn't quite got that consistency yet. So I think it's fair to say those three can be put into that bracket. In terms of the projected quarterfinals, we've got Iga Swiatek versus Marketa Vondrousova in what would be an interesting matchup. Coco Gauff versus Zheng Xinwen, Maria Sakkari versus Elena Rybakina, and Ons Jabeur versus Aryna Sabalenka. In terms of notable omissions, there are some pretty bizarre ones. I say bizarre because there's some Grand Slam champions missing. So the wildcard list, from what I can see, is only Italians. It consists of only Italians. There's not a single non-Italian player on the list. Now, look, generally speaking, right? Generally speaking, wildcard lists tend to be full of local talent, right? And or players that are, from that given country. So Madrid had a lot of Spanish players. Given wildcards, understandable. But you will also have in there players deserving of a wildcard because either they are Grand Slam champions, or they bring in a good crowd, or they're going to be competitive, and maybe they've just had a bit of a layoff. We haven't got that. And, I'm not saying there's some players that are not deserving on the list, but I would say that some of the players I'm about to list are probably more deserving than a few of them. And they're Grand Slam champions in Caroline Wozniacki, Simona Halep, and Emma Raducanu. Now, Simona Halep has won a French Open title before. She should be getting a wild card. Now, whatever your stance is on her ban, and of course her case is different, and you're entitled to your opinion, whatever way it might be. But if we're looking at it solely on results and her pedigree, she should be getting one. Wozniacki, okay, maybe not as good on clay, it's a worse surface, but she's still a Grand Slam champion and has won some good matches on clay in the past. Probably should get one. Emma Raducanu had a decent run, in Madrid and, or well, sorry, even in Stuttgart. She lost in the first round, Madrid. Okay, fine, not a great result, but Stuttgart, she played some good tennis. Looks like she probably would have been okay in Rome if she managed to recapture some form. And it seemed it was just an off day in Madrid. Should she have got a wild card? I'm not as disappointed with that one, even though she is young talent. But Wozniacki and especially Simona Halep, I was surprised by more than anything. But it is what it is. I'm sure we will get some more shocks like that as the year progresses as well. And look, it's up to the tournament's discretion, so I can say what I want, but it's up to them, right? Okay, let's get into the draw then. So Iga Swiatek has a bye, and it's an interesting quarter for her. It's pretty straightforward, I would say, but we'll get into it in more detail as we work our way through. Dollar Hyde has a qualifier, and I'll go for Dollar Hyde there. Martina Trevisan has a wild card, and she'll play put and save. I'll go for Trevisan, the home favourite. Sloane Stevens has a bye, and Kudermetova also has a bye. I've got Davis beat Kerber. I just don't see Kerber doing much on clay, and I'm surprised she's even playing these tournaments. In all honesty, maybe it's because she wants to potentially make the Olympic team for Germany. I'm not sure how close she is to making it, or she's even in there, but that could be a reason. Shmendlova to be qualified. Alexandrova has a bye, as does Haddon Mayer. Then we've got Wang Jinyu and Wan Yu in all Chinese. If I will go for Wang. Camilla Osorio to beat Rus. She's a decent clay court player. Osorio and Keys has a bye, as does Castella. Townsend to be the qualifier. And then Fernandez, Bogdan, that's a good first round. We'll go for Fernandez. He should be doing something on clay. She should be making some moves on clay, especially on slow clay. Let's see. Let's see, because now it's now or never, really. Because if she doesn't do well in Rome, I find it very hard to see her doing much at Roland Garros. So she needs to start to peak. This is it, right? Rome is perfect in the sense that it's slow, just like Roland Garros. The conditions are very similar. So, it's no surprise that you see a lot of the Rome champions go on to win Roland Garros. It doesn't happen every single year. I'm not saying you win Rome, that means you're definitely going to win Roland Garros. But what it does mean, I think, especially if you make a deep run anyway at Rome, is that you're putting yourself in a really good position to succeed in Paris. Vondrousova and Gauff both have buys, and we've got Freck to beat Kruger for me, and I've got Buxer to beat Venetian, Krejcikova, and Navarro both have buys. And then this is arguably the best first round matchup in Mira Andreeva versus Paula Badosa. It really just depends on how Badosa's feeling with her back. I know she's been struggling with it. It's a massive shame. Of course, recently split up with Stefanos Tsitsipas. We didn't do a video on it because I'm not that bothered about relationships in the tennis world, in honesty. But look, I don't think it'll affect her. It seems like, yeah, I'm sure she'll be fine. So, Mirandreva, look, I was impressed with her in Madrid. She made the quarterfinals, looked really good. It's a completely different surface, so a lot slower. But if she does manage to navigate her way through this tricky first round matchup, I don't see why she can't go on and make another run. I just, there's something about her. She does have star quality, she does have ability, and yes, she can be hit off the court. And Badosa has power, so that could be an issue for Andreeva. It just depends on how her body holds up. So I'm actually going to go for Andreeva to get through that, but Badosa could easily come out on top and comfortably, and prove me wrong if the body holds. Minen versus Schneider will go Schneider. Samsonova and Kasakina both have buys. I'm going to go for Tatiana Maria to be a qualifier. Osaka against Borel is also a good first round. I just think Osaka is struggling a little bit on the clay. This is an even slower surface in Rome. I'm not sure how she's going to get on. I'm going to go for her to get through it, but Borel could beat her. I just think Osaka on clay, it just hasn't quite clicked in her career. And I'm wondering whether after coming back onto tour, she has a renewed view of it after missing, some seasons on clay as well, just because she clearly didn't like playing on the surface and was struggling on it. But yeah, I'm hoping she has success because, yes, her game isn't the best suited to clay, but she's a good enough player to make some moves on it. And if someone like Rybakina can do well on clay, I I don't see why Osaka can't either. Kostyuk and Noskova both have buys, and then we've got an all-Italian affair, 2 wildcards. Paganetti and Stefanini. I know who Stefanini is. I have to be honest, Paganetti, I don't know who that is. And that probably tells you, I mean, look, I'm not saying I'm the oracle or anything, but it probably tells you that she's not particularly highly ranked. So, an interesting wildcard to give, could be a youngster. And then we've got Lisa Pagato wildcard versus Rogers. We'll go for Rogers. Zheng Xinwen and Sakkari both have buys. And then we've got Federica De Sara to be a qualifier. Vekic and Sorenko will go for Vekic. Sorenko has not been doing much. She hasn't been doing much this year. And yeah, we'll see how she gets on. And last year's finalist in Angelina Kalinina has a buy. And she's actually interestingly seeded 30 this year, which is exactly the same seed as she was last year. Interesting. Anyway, Azarenka has a buy as well. Lynette beat Zhu for me. Lynette's been looking pretty good on clay, made the final of the Open Darun tournament, lost to Stevens. I'm going to go for Sharuti Martic. Maya Sharif loves the clay, and I think the slower surface will suit her game. Pauline and Collins both have buys. Diane Parry is an absolute nightmare to face on clay. She plays Anna Blinkova. I think Parry will get through that one, and I think she'll be gearing up to try and do something around in Garros, where, of course, she'll be playing at home. She's a dangerous player on clay. She really is. Cotteretto to beat a qualifier, and Garcia and Mertens both have buys. I'm going to go for Siniakova to beat the wild card in Brancaccio, and Begu to beat a qualifier. Rebecca and Jabeur both have buys. Sophia Kenin to beat Bronzetti? No. Sophia Kenin has not been in good form. She really hasn't. So I'm going to go for Bronzetti. Padone to be a qualifier. Bolt has a buy, as does Pavlyuchenkova. I'm going to go for Srivas Tormo to beat Podoroska and Potapova to beat Wang. Ostapenko, Svitolina both have buys. And then another good first round matchup. A very experienced veteran on clay, Sarah Arani, who rightfully so has a wild card, will play Amanda Anisimova. I think Anisimova, despite Arani being as good as she is on clay, historically is coming towards the end of her career. Anisimova should be too young and fresh for her, even though it's on clay. So I'm going to go for the American. Seville has a qualifier, and Kananskaya and Yashemska both have buys. And we've got Wang here's got a qualifier as well, and Sabalenka has a buy. Right, okay, now it gets interesting. Swiatek to beat Dollarhide for me. Trevisan Stevens, that's a really good matchup. Stevens beat Trevisan, if I'm not mistaken, in the opening match of Madrid. It's a different surface, though. Very different. It's a lot slower, but Stevens is playing well on clay, so I'm going to go for Stevens. Kudermetova, who made the quarterfinals, if I'm not mistaken, of Rome last year, to beat Davis. Alexandrova to beat Shmanilova. Helen Mayer to beat Wang. I think Helen Mayer also had a decent run, I think, last year, if I'm not mistaken. I wasn't to the quarterfinal stage, I don't think, but maybe round of 16. Madison Keys to beat Osorio. She had a good Madrid, but again, quicker surface, higher altitude, better for her type of game, so she may struggle to go as deep in Rome. Castella to beat Townsend, and I'm going to go for Fernandez to beat Vondrousova in what would be an upset because Vondrousova is seeded number 6. And even though Vondrousova, I think, made the quarterfinals last year, look, I mean, I expect big things from Fernandez. I really do. And I think she will peak. And Battle of the Lefties, that'll be a really good match to watch. different matches. We don't see many matches between two left-handers of this type of quality, so it should be a good one if we do get to see it. That is, Gauff to beat Freck, and then we've got Krejcikova to beat Buxa. I really do wonder how she's going to play and how fit she's going to look. Andreeva to beat Navarro. I'm not massive fan of seeing Navarro on clay courts. I don't think she's anywhere near as proficient on clay as she is on hard court. That is, Samsonova to beat Schneider, Kasatkina to beat Tatiana Maria. I mean, Osaka could be Kostyuk, but Kostyuk on clay, I think, is actually been okay. So she's looked pretty good. So I think we'll have to go for Kostyuk. Nosko to beat Stefanini and Zhang Xinwen to beat Shelby Rogers. Sakkari to beat Desara and Vekic Kalinina. Lynette to beat Azarenka. I'm going to go Paulini to beat Sharif. Diane Parry, can she handle the power of Danielle Collins? It's a slow surface. I'm going to go yes. Of course, Danielle Collins had a really good run of 14 matches unbeaten before falling to Sabalenka midway through the Madrid tournament. Garcia to beat Cotcheretto, and I'm going to go for Siniakova to beat Mertens, Rybakina to beat Begu, Jabeur should beat Bronzetti, and I'm going to go for the Italian Giorgia Pedone to beat Bolter, Sorribes Tormo to beat Pavlyuchenkova. Actually, no, Pavlyuchenko should get through that. She's a former French Open finalist. She's been playing enough tennis. She's fit, so yeah, she should be okay. Ostapenko to beat Potapova. She's going to have time to wind up those big ground strokes. So big booming ground strokes, that is. So yeah, I expect her to do okay. And this is the moment to beat Svitolina. I'm not a massive fan of Svitolina on clay. I know she won Strasbourg last year, if I'm not mistaken, and she can play. I just don't see her being as effective on it as she is on a hard court, even a grass court. Kind of scared to beat Seville for me, and Yastremska to beat qualifier. Sabalenka, to beat Wang. Swiatek Stevens. Swiatek. Kudermetova to beat Alexandrova. Hadamir to beat Keys. Fernandez to beat Castella. I'm going to go for Gauff to beat Krejcikova. Mirandreva to beat Samsonova. Kasatkina to beat Kostyuk. I think she's got too much know-how on clay for Kostyuk, and she'll make it awkward as well. And I just don't feel like Kostyuk tends to handle adversity and, let's say, but a more diverse and varied game from her opponent. I think she struggles with it. Noskova and Zheng Xinwen, a really good matchup. I'm going to go for Zheng Xinwen. Kalinina Sakkari. Kalinina could easily win this one. But look, I have faith in Sakkari and how she's been playing recently and with David Witt in her corner. So I'm going to go for Sakkari. I'm going to go for Paulini to beat Lynette. I'm going to go for Diane Parry to beat Caroline Garcia. I still haven't seen enough from Caroline Garcia on clay to make me think that she is able to go deep at these tournaments. Rybakina to beat Siniakova and Jabeur to beat Pedone. Ostapenko to beat Pavlyuchenkova. I'm going to go for Anisimova to beat Kanskaya. And yes, Sabalenka to beat Yastremska. Look, if Yastremska is playing really well and she's firing on all cylinders, even though, yes, it's on a slower surface in Rome, it could be a really tough matchup for Sabalenka, so watch out for that. Oh, sorry. A bit trigger happy. Round of 16. Right, here we go. Oh, now it gets tasty. Now it gets really tasty. Okay. Swiatek Kudermetova. Swiatek. I know Kudermetova has beaten Swiatek in the last year, but it wasn't on clay. It wasn't on clay. And on a slow clay court surface either. Hadamir to beat Fernandez for me. Again, battle of the lefties. Good one. Coco Gauff should get past Andreeva on clay. She should do. Gauff is good on a slow clay court surface. Has a lot of time to time the forehand. Kasatkina, Zheng Xinwen. I'm going to go for Zheng Xinwen, although it's a tough one to call. I'm going to go for Paulini to beat Sakkari. Similar type players. And I do like Paulina. I think with the crowd behind her, she should be able to get the win. Rybakina to beat Parry, and I'm going to go for Ostapenko to beat Jabeur. I think maybe Jabeur will struggle with the pace of Ostapenko, especially on this. I say the pace of Ostapenko. Of course, the courts are going to be slower, but her ball is so heavy, it will still cause opponents problems. And yeah, I just think that having that bit of extra time to set up and unleash will make a big difference for Ostapenko. And I don't think it's a surprise that the one slam she won was Roland Garros. Anisimova Sabalenka is a tough one. I mean, Sabalenka, Yastrzemska and then Anisimova, I know they're not seeded, but well, yeah, they're not highly seeded anyway, but it's tough. I'm going to go for Sabalenka, but she could lose, especially to Anisimova, she could lose that. So my round of 16 matches are. Is that right? These are my quarterfinals, eh? Yeah, my quarterfinal matches, sorry, even are. Swiatek had Mayer, Gauff Zheng Wen, Paulini Rybakina, and Ostapenko Sabalenka. I'm going to go for Swiatek to beat Haddad Mayer. I'm going to go for Zheng Wen to cause a bit of an upset, and beat Coco Gauff. I'm going to go for Rybakina to beat Paulini and Sabalenka to beat Ostapenko. So that leaves me with a Swiatek Zheng semi-final and a Rybakina Sabalenka semi-final. We go for Swiatek to beat Zheng Wen. And then this is a really interesting one because, in all honesty, this could go either way. And I'd like to think Sabalenka would be able to beat Rybakina and then make a final on a really slow clay court and potentially even beat Swiatek, and then all three of them will won it. But I think Rybakina, after the really tight semi-final loss in Madrid, and given that she's got good memories in Rome, she clearly knows how to play on this surface despite it being slower. I think I'm going to go Rybakina. She's a very intelligent player. She's got underrated tennis IQ. There's not many players on tour. And look, I mean, there's a clear example here. She's won Wimbledon and the Rome Masters in her career so far, as two tournaments, that is. They could not be any more different in conditions, in surface, in the way they play. So you need to be able to be versatile enough to adapt to your conditions no matter what. And I feel like she is able to. Swiatek and Sabalenka also are. But Rybakina, I just feel because she's a bit taller as well, she relies a lot on her serve and well, generally her serve, but also her big, powerful ground strokes. Yeah, I just find that with her, he has that sort of tennis know-how and insight in how to just navigate and tweak her game accordingly, depending on what surface, what condition she's facing. I feel with Sabalenka, her game, the big serving, big ground stroke game, she is so big that she can play that down any surface, and she can, if she plays well, she will beat 99.99% of players, right? Unless she comes up against maybe Iga playing really well on clay, she's probably going to end up winning. And Madrid, she had 3 championship points to win Madrid a third time against Swiatek and ended up losing to Iga, but it was a very, very tight match. Could have gone either way. She had a tight win against Rybakina as well. But I think the slower conditions maybe might not quite suit her. And yes, she made the semi-finals of Roland Garros last year, but she, of course, ended up losing to Mukova when she was up. I just think the slower services gives players a bit more of a chance against a Sabalenka serve, and her second serve, kick serve, is not incredible. Something for her to improve on, because generally her serve is massive and it causes a lot of problems for opponents. But if you've watched on clay, her second serve has been getting punished by some of the top players. So that leaves a final of Swiatek and Elena Rybakina, and I'm going to go for Swiatek to go back to back, win Madrid and then Rome. She won Rome in 2021 and 2022. Last year, of course, it was even Stevens against Rybakina in the quarterfinal, had to retire. I think it was 2-2 in the deciding set. So I see her coming back to Rome and regaining her title. Let me know in the comment section below what you think and who you think is going to win. Look, I think Rome is so similar to Roland Garros, and Swiatek, of course, sees that as almost home as well. I think she's going to once again settle in and not let anyone else have fun at the party. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and well, and we'll see you on the next video.